Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, President Trump's impeachment process is heating up. The head-to-head debate between Democrats and Republicans over the president's conduct. Plus, thousands of job opportunities with the U.S. Census are opening up. How you could help San Diego be counted. And San Diego's firefighting efforts are getting an upgrade. How this helicopter will help against wildfires. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. It's Thursday, December 12th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Priya Sridhar. A House committee debating the articles of impeachment against President Trump for hours today. Democrats say the president violated his oath of office. Republicans say he has committed no crime. Karen Kaifa is in Washington with details.
A long, contentious day in the House Judiciary Committee.
17 witnesses. It's uncontradicted. There's no rival story.
Facts be damned. They don't care.
The committee debating amendments to the two articles of impeachment introduced by Democrats alleging abuse of power and obstruction of Congress by the president related to his actions toward Ukraine. Republicans say it doesn't meet the threshold.
If that's the best you got, you wasted a whole lot of time and taxpayer dollars, all because so many of you, Mr. Chairman, hate this president.
Democrats say it is their obligation to act.
The president committed the highest crime against the Constitution by abusing his office, cheating in an election, inviting foreign interference.
A committee vote, the final step before consideration by the full House. Democrats confident they have the votes to impeach, even though some swing district Democrats have not publicly committed to voting for the articles.
The articles are what they are. They're very powerful. They're very strong. And they are a continuation of a pattern of misbehavior on the part of the president.
While Republicans aim to keep their entire caucus in line.
If you watch the impeachment inquiry, the only bipartisan vote was no. If you watch what has come forth since that, there's no reason to change that vote.
That House floor vote is expected next week. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The U.S. Census is gearing up to hire thousands of people in San Diego. This is the latest step toward improving participation in a county declared hard to count. KPBS Speak City Heights reporter Ebony Monet explains.
From the person crossing the street to one living outside, the 2020 U.S. Census has a campaign to count everyone. We met with the Census's Jeff Arnio near the downtown office to get an update.
We are in a massive mobilization of hiring literally thousands of people.
The positions range from door-to-door counters to office managers and pay from $19 to $37 an hour. There's added efforts in areas such as City Heights, where dozens of languages are spoken and there's a transient population.
While there's some language barriers and people that will be resistant, there's another, there's a balance to that there's like strong community in the way that they really want to be recognized and they want their voice to be heard.
At least 16 community organizations have come together to try to make sure that the people of City Heights are not undercounted. That means canvassing the community and making phone calls in more than a dozen languages.
We recruit from every community, local, state, tribal, reservations, to make sure that we have people from those communities helping us count those people from those communities.
April 1st is Census Day 2020. Ebony Monet, KPBS News.
And if you're interested in working for the census, you must be a U.S. citizen, 18 years or older, and available to work a minimum of 20 hours per week. There are some exceptions, and for more, head to kpbs.org. Metropolitan transit system leaders are debating what public transit improvements should be part of a tax measure that could end up on the 2020 ballot. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen breaks down the options.
MTS board members met Thursday to discuss Elevate SD 2020. That's the half-cent sales tax measure proposed for next November's ballot. It's expected to generate about $24 billion over 50 years. One big question is whether the ballot measure will fund a new trolley line from Chula Vista to Kearny Mesa, or whether it will focus more on improving the existing bus and trolley network. County Supervisor and MTS Board Chairman Nathan Fletcher says the measure can't pay for everything.
But our goal is clear in terms of increasing ridership, providing more opportunities, getting the environmental benefits, the congestion relief, and so it's just assessing how we put that package together.
With or without the new trolley line, the wish list includes new rapid bus routes, more frequent service, and free passes for youth. MTS board members are expected to vote on a final project list in the spring. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
With shovels in hand, city leaders are celebrating the beginning of construction of the Georgia Meade and Landis Bikeway project. It will add more than 6.5 miles of new bikeways that will connect neighborhoods like City Heights, Kensington, Normal Heights, North Park, and University Heights. This is a rendering that shows what part of this construction will look like. The Sandag Board of Directors approved the plan and hopes to create a safer environment for those who ride bikes or walk in the area.
And crossing the street here has become a very dangerous experience, and I'm very excited about what this project's going to bring for our community.
And I just feel like it's important to have bike path that's safer for cyclists.
The project has been controversial, with some residents worried about the elimination of about 200 parking spaces. The Georgia Meade and Landis bikeways are scheduled to be complete in the spring of 2022. Protecting San Diego against wildfires from the air. A new firefighting helicopter will help city firefighters do just that. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman explains.
We are bolstering our aerial firefighting capabilities with a state-of-the-art helicopter.
Getting this firefighting tool in the air took more than 2 years.
We've been looking forward to this day for so long and really welcoming this extraordinary helicopter to our fleet.
This new Firehawk helicopter can hold up to 1,000 gallons of water. That's 3 times more than the old ones. Now it costs just shy of $20 million, and the city wants to get another one. This is the fire department's first new addition to its helicopter fleet since 2007.
We really felt with the fire seasons, the way they've been getting worse and worse, that we need, a little bigger tool.
The Firehawk has a retractable water pump and can fill its 1,000-gallon tank in just 60 seconds.
When we look at the amount of work that it can do, it's very efficient.
It's also much faster compared to the city's older helicopters. It can race between fires at a speed of 140 knots, which is around 160 miles per hour. On board is a pilot, crew chief, and rescue medic. Teams will be on standby 24/7.
In any of our canyon fires, it's fast initial attack. Our goal up and down the state is to keep 90% of the fires at 10 acres or less.
And the benefits go beyond city limits. When needed, this helicopter can be used across the county.
When requested, we provide night aerial firefighting in the county. We also provide it to support the U.S. Forest Service in the county on the Cleveland National Forest.
The Firehawk can even go up to Orange County for mutual aid calls. It's also equipped for search and rescue missions. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
It's rainy season in East Africa, but the impact so far this year across the region is being sorely felt by millions, with severe flooding and landslides leading to drownings, destruction of property, and food insecurity. UN experts have pointed to climate change as a key contributing factor to the intensity and duration of the season's downpours. Farai Zavenzo reports.
As the rainy seasons have begun across East Africa in recent months, countries across the region have been battered by unprecedented levels of rain. Kenya, Sudan, Djibouti, Somalia, Uganda and Ethiopia, among others, have all been affected. And now the UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says more than 2.8 million people across East Africa have been affected by the heavy rains and the flash flooding. The climate science says warming waters in the Indian Ocean, which sits on the coast of East Africa, are contributing to the heavy rainfall. In Kenya alone, more than 100 people are reported to have died, many in a landslide triggered by the rains in West Pokot County at the end of November. People's homes were buried. Uganda's West Nile province saw the Nile burst its banks with tragic consequences, such as yet more mudslides and drownings. Somalia's Puntland braced for a major storm emanating from Madagascar this last weekend. The waters made people move to higher ground. In some areas, the rains have come after months of drought, and their sudden appearance has wiped out crops and destroyed livelihoods. In South Sudan, where there's been conflict and widespread food insecurity, the rains have made existing shortages worse. The sudden turn in East Africa's weather comes as partners gather in Madrid for COP25 to discuss the very issue of climate change. Here in East Africa, the falling rains have lent an urgency to the discussions underway in the Spanish capital. Marine Juarez organization, the Pan-Africa Climate Justice Alliance, has people in Madrid.
We build the capacities of communities so that they can be resilient to the effects of climate change. But as an organization, it's not enough. We do not have enough resources. So our governments are supposed to be in a position to work with us.
I'm not in Madrid, but I understand that while Madrid is happening and people are talking about climate change, this massive tragedy is hitting East Africa. I mean, if you were there, what would you tell them?
If you're a country that pollutes, pay up. Paying doesn't necessarily mean money. It means bring technologies that can be in a position to help our communities build their resilience. It means that provide some research for our countries that is supposed to help us know what is coming before it comes.
The UN says more rains are expected throughout East Africa before 2019 ends. And many here are wondering if these floods are an act of God or if they're man-made. Farai Sevenzo, CNN, Nairobi.
No rains in our forecast. In fact, temperatures will be warming up. Meteorologist Marvin Gomez tells us what we can expect.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope you're having an excellent day. I'm AccuWeather's Marvin Gomez. Thanks for staying with us here on KPBS News. Looking at some of your weather highlights that we have for you. Warmer temperatures are going to be with us heading into Friday, and also for the weekend it's going to get windy and cooler temperatures are coming across the deserts and the mountains, and that's because we have a trough coming by. Also heading into Saturday night, there is a slight chance for a passing shower. Here's our satellite and radar image in the last couple of hours. Notice how we've had some of those high clouds moving through the region, but most of the moisture that we're noticing across the state is way up towards the north, across parts of Redding, even into parts of Oregon. That's where we're even tracking a couple of showers. Heading into tonight, 54 degrees will be the low, mostly clear conditions out there, and that's going to be the setup for much of San Diego County. You're looking at Borrego Springs, 47 degrees for tonight, 44 into Ramona, and across Oceanside, 49 degrees as well. As we take you into the next couple of hours, here's your AccuWeather Futurecast. Notice how overall it'll be quiet, no rain heading into Friday. Dry, comfortable conditions for all of us here across Southern California, and that's going to be the setup mainly for much of the Southwest. You could see pleasant conditions throughout the region. It is over to the north that we are noticing that moisture flow coming inland from the Pacific. As we head into tomorrow, here are your temperatures. Borrego Springs reaching 74 degrees. Heading into Escondido, 72, Oceanside near 68, and your AccuWeather forecast heading into the coast. We are going to see those temperatures near 70 degrees as we head into our Friday, and also along the coast. If you have plans on going to the beach, keep in mind that the waters are going to get a little bit choppier, so dangerous conditions will be with us starting Friday morning all the way through Sunday afternoon. There is a high risk for some rip currents as well. Here is your inland forecast, mostly dry for the next couple of days. Again, Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, that's when we have a better chance perhaps of seeing a slight passing shower along the mountains. Sunday, it's going to be windy up there in the higher elevations. Keep that in mind if you have any travel plans. And for the deserts, well, we're definitely going to stay dry with temperatures near 74 on Friday, 72 heading into Saturday. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Marvin Gomez.
San Diego researchers are making progress on a long-running plan to revive a nearly extinct rhino species. 2 rhino births this year were important steps. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson takes a look at the progress.
Future is a month-old baby and already about 200 pounds. During a recent visit, she was far more interested in playing with a plastic tub than the fact that she's playing a role in a critical rhino recovery effort. Future's mom, Amani, and 5 other females were brought to San Diego in 2015 to be surrogate moms for northern white rhinos. Only 2 northern whites are still alive, and neither can breathe.
This is an animal that will be extinct in our lifetime. It's already extinct. It just happens to be still walking around in a couple of instances.
Jean Loring is pioneering research that'll play a crucial role in the recovery plan. She's helping turn a dozen northern white rhino skin cell samples into pluripotent or adult stem cells.
So we have a total of 9 now in the freezer.
Those stem cell lines have the potential to become any adult cell in a rhino's body, something that's only been done before with mice. Loring hopes to eventually create rhino sex cells, opening the door to creating a northern white embryo.
Now we're at the stage in which we're seeing the first signs of development into sperm and eggs, the precursors of sperm and eggs. Those are called primordial germ cells because sperm and eggs are germ cells, so primordial, the early stages.
In a small lab at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, Marisa Carodi is helping draw up the scientific guidebook that'll show researchers the path from skin cells to rhino embryos. A lot of that work is just that, work. It's routine culturing of cells. Carodi's team adds different things to the cultures to see what pushes the cells down a particular path.
And then we give them the signals that will tell them to turn into whatever cell type we want. So it can be giving them growth factors, or it can be using specific chemicals that will turn on or turn off different pathways in the cell cycle that you can basically direct it to turn on specific genes when you need them.
Carodi was introduced to the project in Jean Loring's lab, and she was drawn in by the chance to help a species that is so close to extinction. This is an active culture of this stem cell. You constantly feed it, you keep it active?
Yep. We feed them every 24 hours, so somebody is here 7 days a week. So I was here feeding them yesterday. If we don't feed them that frequently, that growth factor that makes them maintain their stem cell state will break down. It's heat sensitive.
Those daily chores are occasionally rewarded. Carodi pulls up a video that caused quite a stir recently. This collection of stem cells is pulsing, actually expanding and contracting in a petri dish.
So these are just responding. There's no pacemaker, so they're not in sync as they would be if they were an actual heart. But yes, these are cardiomyocytes from Angelifu.
Angelifu was the last male northern white to live in San Diego. Developing those fledgling heart cells gives hope that sperm and eggs are not far off.
Oh, okay.
And that could mean a northern white embryo can be implanted in one of the zoo's 6 surrogates. Zoo geneticist Oliver Ryder says the cloning of Dolly the sheep and then the subsequent stem cell advances have opened a door.
If we can make rhinos' cells have babies, and we can reconstitute a functional breeding population of northern white rhinos, we can take a species that is functionally extinct and return it to its habitat once that's secure.
Ryder is standing in the San Diego Zoo's frozen zoo. These nitrogen-cooled freezers hold genetic material from thousands of animals, some endangered, some not.
There's a great need to expand this effort on a global basis through regional centers and centers in different countries.
Ryder says this seed bank of cells idea is catching on, and he thinks it's vital for the future of northern white rhinos and possibly other species. Technology being developed in San Diego with the rhinos could have applications for other animals and plants.
I have a constant sense of the march of time and the grim reaper of species extinction being out there.
But science, Ryder says, could be the key to undoing some of the man-made harm that's driving plants and animals to the edge. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
Many of us are familiar with the current nutrition labels printed on food items or on menus, but not everyone knows how to decipher them. A new approach could help give you a better idea of counting calories in a way that computes. Mary Maloney has more.
A small study could show some big promise when it comes to helping you cut calories. It all comes down to how food products are labeled. According to research published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health, food labels that show how much activity is needed to burn off calories from what you're eating could lead to healthier choices than the normal nutrition labels. For example, physical activity calorie equivalent labels, commonly called PACE labels, would list on a bar of chocolate that it takes 23 minutes of running or 46 minutes of walking to burn off the candy's 230 calories. Researchers say this could help consumers cut an average of 200 calories per day from their diet. The group pulled data from 14 other studies that looked at the effectiveness of pace labeling and calorie reduction. While the researchers cautioned that the studies were small and weren't carried out in real-life settings, they hold promise for reducing calorie consumption. The lead researcher says the goal is to have both sets on food products and menus, giving the public as much information as possible. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, a congressional committee closes in on a key impeachment vote. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Chances are some of the holiday gifts you bought online are still on the way. So how do you keep package thieves from stealing those presents from your porch? Well, in today's Consumer Watch, Meredith Wood has tips to keep porch pirates at bay.
The holidays are a prime season for criminals as more of us shop for our holiday gifts online. This year, the Postal Service projects 800 million package deliveries between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve. And according to transportation experts, 15% of all deliveries in urban areas fail to reach customers on the first attempt due to package theft or other issues. Because of that, a growing number of online retailers are offering in-store pickup or ship-to-store options. If you still have online gifts headed to your doorstep, follow these steps to make sure strangers don't walk up to the front door and walk off with your merchandise. Number 1, sign up for delivery updates. The UPS My Choice program sends you updates and drop-off times to keep packages from sitting outside. Number 2, redirect packages to your office instead of your home address. Just make sure your employer is okay with that. Number 3, pick it up at a facility. Even if your packages don't need a signature, you can request they get held at the facility so they don't get left on your stoop. Number 4, pick it up instead. Amazon Locker Delivery, Package Concierge, and UPS Access Point all allow packages to be sent to a secure location. Also, many retailers offer free shipping directly to a nearby store where you can pick up your items. For Consumer Watch, I'm Meredith Wood.
The holidays mean tipping, and with that comes a number of questions. How do you tip? Well, Kiplinger tackles the subject in a recent article titled The 16 People You Should Tip for the Holidays. Right at the top of the list, your mail carrier. But the U.S. Postal Service forbids carriers from accepting cash. Kiplinger says among the acceptable gifts are store or restaurant gift cards that can't be exchanged for cash, and they have to be under $20. For your daycare provider, consider a tip between $25 and $70. For your regular babysitter, one night's pay is appropriate. A tip of $10 to $30 each is suggested for your trash collectors, and if you live in a doorman building, the suggested range for a tip is between $25 and $100. Your regular cleaning person should also be tipped. Usually it's the cost of one visit. And others on the list to tip: your dog's groomer, and speaking of grooming, don't forget your barber or hairstylist. For more on tipping and the suggested amount, check out the full article at kiplinger.com.
After 3 weekends at the top of the box office, it's time for Frozen 2 to step aside as a trio of new films take aim at the crown. David Daniel has a weekend box office preview.
Where's the jungle? This is a whole new thing. Nobody told us we had to do a whole new thing.
Okay, something went wrong.
It's game on for Jumanji: The Next Level as Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart and company return for another adventure. Analysts expect the movie to debut atop the box office with anywhere from $40 to $55 million. That would beat the last Jumanji's opening of $36 million. Though that film hit theaters a week after a Star Wars movie, this one opens the week before.
Cheese.
We shouldn't have let her go back by herself. She's fine. Come on, live a little.
The latest remake of Black Christmas also opens on Friday the 13th. Sorority sisters have to deal with a killer on campus in the holiday-themed horror thriller, which is projected to debut with $10 to $12 million. Not bad. The production budget was $5 million.
You always look at the guy who found the bomb, just like you always look at the guy who found the body.
Clint Eastwood directs Richard Jewell about the Atlanta Olympic security guard who discovered a bomb, then was falsely accused of planting it. Paul Walter Hauser stars in the drama, which is looking at a $10 million debut. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
New Year's Eve may be more than 2 weeks away, but New York is preparing. The numbers that will light up the famous ball arrived in Times Square Wednesday. 1 million people are expected to gather in the Big Apple to watch it happen live. Millions more will watch the iconic ball drop on live TV. It's certainly the biggest New Year's Eve celebration in the U.S., but not the only one. In Raleigh, North Carolina, they'll drop an acorn. A giant light-up moon pie will kick off 2020 in Mobile, Alabama, and they'll kick back with a conch shell in Key West, Florida. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a great evening.